and control yourself when you want to slam. You have to really judge those opportunities for the Echo Slam up against the PL. You need to know and keep track of when Doppelganger's used up, which can be hard as the game goes on. We've seen certain PLs go for, reduction in cooldown before the talent comes out. So they try to rush Octarine and try to build up that way, and once you do get to that point, the Doppel is such an annoying spell. Very hard to time right into, and that could be to the detriment of that Shaker here.
30 seconds and counting.
Next time. They're so nice.
Nah. They do just split up the lanes. You are still starting with this tri-lane up top for PentAce, but the supports are showing. So Moo shows up. They do know that there are more heroes clumped in. Snaking's just going to be focusing on his block right now. And they do actually just TP away. So not looking for the first blood opportunity because they showed up early. You do have to still deal with this lane as a Raid King. Never fun up against a Rubik. Fade Bolt just makes it harder to last hit. But A does have some angles he can play with. Has the Brain Sap ready to go. So he can trade fairly well as being up there and just getting some harassment off onto Snaking. Yeah, that's the one thing with the GP. Because it's a range on range lane, you're not able to really maximize your Spirit Siphon for harassment. Hold on. It's a tough lane in terms of trading regen here up top. You're already out of Tango's left on Leo, so he's going to be having a harder time staying up front. Do you have a little bit more regen on hand for the Pangolier and for Z-Freak as well in the Rubik, so they should be able to hold that lane steady. Gives us a chance to look at that last lane down, but you've got Michael on the Shaker, is around with Mariano on the NP. They are laning up against Moo on the CM and Fear on a PL. And early on, this lane is not going to be the easiest for Fear. He's a melee hero going up against the NP. The NP does not have a Blightstone this time, but you do still have some good harassment out with the Treants. With your pure right-click damage, it's fairly hard for you to trade, and the CM can't really do too much to zone Mariano out. So it's steady farm for the NP. But Fear, he's slightly behind, but not by much. Your PL's also not going to be under too much duress here. yeah, just getting that reset off does buy some time to secure these power runes as well, though the supports are on hand for PentAce, and they're already there. Ryoya should be able to get a nice regen, and Michael tried to go for the block play, but they weren't ready with Angel not quite having enough damage to really lock Ryoya in. So our DP as well going off to a very swell start here, slightly ahead of our SF. Never good news. SF's one of those heroes that needs to snowball.
Looking for more.
Great combat begins.
Yeah, he gets it on the big hero. Mariano just overextending a bit, and that does set a good tone here for PentAce. He's not able to do much to stop those dives in, and Michael is still finding some solid EXP on the Shaker as well.
Feed the trees.
That should help.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just a steady build up here. They are trying to pressure Ryoya. He does have level 6. So if the lane gets shoved a bit too far out, the DP is going to look for that mid tier 1. And Michael is around the area just to get some stacks up. They do have their top jungle sort of invaded. There's a nice forward ward already being dropped to keep track of any stacks on the top jungle. But none of those stacks are being built there. Really heads up there from Infamous.
Radiant's courier has been killed. Each brave courier
No.
knows the risks.
Oh.
Double kill.
Yeah, it's a big set of kills coming out for Infamous. Opens up a bit of a shove on mid as well. Newell.
Dire's bottom tower is under
Yeah, it's a lot of space bought out for those rotations mid though, as Fear does get to do a lot of damage on that bot tier 1. Not the ideal tower to shove in, but this is a lot of space for the PL to just keep farming up. So you are getting some good space happening. They do group up top. Oh, the skeletons though. Yeah, it's one of those things for the Raid King that you can't underestimate. Still, steady build up for both sides, 2 to 4, lead for Infamous, just at 1k. They are finding that initial farm quite nicely. You're seeing Leo pull ahead of Fear, and this is down to the fact that he can farm so well with his skeletons. He can go into camps, clear out waves, and there's not much you can really do about it. The PL is a bit slower to farm up. We are seeing Fear save for the Yasha, so no Midas buildups, which is good to see, as we have seen PL Midas just fall flat. And Fear is just going to focus in, hunker down, maybe look for that diffusal build-up right after as well.
preemptive flesh trench.
going to go ahead and try to get that done. Their mid is still being shoved in by Mariano though. This is a bit of the risk you take with the DP. You are going to be able to get towers fast, but they need to come in for the defense for this bigger tower mid. No, they got the deny on the top tower as well, so they take away some of that gold that the DP wants to build for the team without shoving. And I think PentAce is not going to be too happy about that at all. 3-5, 2k lead on Infamous's end. Angel starting to build up. I believe the Yules is just about to fly in. He has the Yules Requiem set up for himself. Going to the Travels next, and once you hit that spike, it is easier for this SF to start finding that burst potential with the Yules combination. Very hard to dodge that one out early on. There was a really good wraparound from behind as well, although Mariano drops up top from another rotation out from PentAce, and that was really down to the fact that Mu and Zifi were smoked behind. They got that, although Michael... just slightly bettering that trade. That does put Echo Slam on cooldown, so Infamous are not going to have that tool for the next team fight, and that could be something PentAce look to abuse. They've got the Exorcism ready to go on Ryoya, and they can start to set their eyes down mid if they wanted to. They do have Rolling Thunder off cooldown as well. So they have all the tools needed to go into a team fight. Fear is getting so much space out of this as well. Has the Yasha up with the Power Threads. Is going for the Diffusal Blade next. So it's going to be a much more active PL build than the PLs we've been seeing for the past few days. That should allow so much presence against the Raid King. Leo is still saving up for the Radiance. It should line up with that Diffusal timing from Fear. So it's going to be a bit of a back and forth with the evasion versus mana burn. Yeah, it's always down to these smoke plays coming out from PentAce. Z-Freak was right around behind the Raid King, had the vision, they TP and find the kill. Now they're ready to go elsewhere as well. Hey. Yeah, that's the one thing with a Bane. It's very hard to play catch-up if you start falling behind, so it looks like we're not going to see the fast Aether Lens timing that you might want here. Even the Glimmer Cape going to be a bit slower, and that can take away from the utility of the hero, especially post-nerf. We'll have to see if they can build up to that point. Still, Infamous are getting space out from those trades. At least Mariano gets to build up, has the Orchid ready to go on the NP, saving up for... So once you have this BKB on Nature's Prophet, you're in a much better spot to stand and fight. You also have now on Michael. So they can go in for the slam place if they want to, look for bigger targets in the middle of these fights, and start taking some of these corals they have been hurting to find. Leo. But there's a smoke out now from Infamous. They want to punish this movement forward. They're not going to find the big clump up they want, but maybe they find a pickoff. Rio. Oh. Definitely doesn't. They've been trying to get that slam off cooldown. They finally do, but it's not the big target they want. I have to say this build-up as well from Angel, right? He went for Yule's. We haven't seen Yule's Requiem work out. They tried once, it failed, and Infamous have been just happy enough to pull back and farm. Maybe once Angel has his BKB, they can get that done, but it does feel like they're missing out on a major power spike. They still hold on to a 3k lead, and PentAce have not made too much progression on any tier 2s with a DP. So you do have that in hand, but they are giving Fear a lot of room to just farm up. He's almost at the SNY. And once you have that SNY, the PL is going to be tanky enough to stand in front, to get the mana burn off, and could try to take control of these fights.
I like how this one feels.
Yeah, it's a risky play. They couldn't even contest because they didn't have the Slam and Michael. Such a long cooldown at level 1, so they didn't really have any options. Maybe if they had this Blink BKB on Angel, they might have been able to do something, but not the best of times for Infamous so far. Still holding on to the lead. There is going to be the Ag Shard rush from Leo. That should negate the effect of the PL in terms of stopping reincarnation, but the point still stands. PL's just going to be able to rip through your 2 lives if you're not careful, and you just need to be ready for that on the side of Infamous. There is a BKB now on Ryoya as well. Still just trade these objectives, not wanting to fight into that Aegis perhaps. They do lose their top tier 2, but they don't even stick around fully for the tier 2 bot, so that could actually just live true. The siege creep might get enough done. There is a smoke here from PentAce as well. Yeah, they get the big targets they want to kill off. They do manage to use the exorcism to at least find a kill, so they're not going to transition to an objective fast, which is the one silver lining here for Infamous. But they are losing some big heroes every single time these trades. Losing the SF, losing the Wraith King, never a good sign. We need to see them play around their strengths. We need to see the Echo Slams fly through. Michael is saving up for the Agnum Shard. 200 gold away. That's going to be a spike for the Shaker to play around for Infamous. They've also got this BKB up in Mariano, so you can stand in front on the MP without worrying too much about the control and the silences coming through from PentAce. They do smoke up, but Mariano was in that smoke, so they might have a clue that it did happen behind that tier 2. That is a strange movement out from Leo. The rest of his team was retreating. He tried to run up, and he gets punished for just wanting to re-engage without his re-ink. So, nice kill coming after PentAce. That evens out the game and net worth now. That was the highest farm here from Infamous. And they're starting to bleed some ground. They have been behind in momentum for a while. They were always holding on to the gold lead. Losing that advantage even makes it even harder to approach these games. And PentAce now are just ready to go every single time. They do not have Exorcism up yet. It's going to be up in 12. They're going to have Rolling Thunder in about the same time. So they can just look to force these fights. Aegis only has about 30 seconds left, but it doesn't feel like that's a massive issue for Fear because they just haven't been able to get those combos off on the PL anyway. It's a really nice objective to take. They should have some bonus XP as well if it's not taken by Infamous. It has been long enough that the Aegis expires on Fear, but what does that matter when his heart is just about 500 gold away? And then you have to deal with PL with a heart, with a Sanjin Yasha, with a Diffusal on top of it. Infamous just doesn't feel like they have the damage. And even if they did, they need to find these angles better. You need better positions out on A. Still doesn't have anything like the Aether Lens. Is still trying to save up for the Glimmer Cape. But the progression's just way too slow, and the impact of that Bane, as you mentioned, is not going well. Z-Freak just counteracts it in every single way. Oh. Couldn't find the DP. Michael was forced to Echo Slam on top, and very quick fingers out from Ryoya to stay alive there. They do find a top tier 1 for the Troubles, and do slide that network lead back on there, and much tighter farm distribution from Infamous across their 3 cores. Whereas on PentAce, you can see them sacrifice their own farm, especially on snaking, to enable Fear to be this big. He's still in a really good spot in the PL. They haven't been able to find an answer for that here just yet. And PentAce, despite being 2k down, do still control much more of the map. They've got these forward wards on the Dire Jungle, on the Dire Triangle as well. And Infamous, you know, with the slam down, they're going to have to wait for a bit until forcing the bigger fights. Requiem is down for about the same time as well. So it's just time to build up here. Maybe look for the angles with the Blink Yules available now on Angel. It should be easier to land at Yules Requiem combo. We need to see that succeed if Infamous wants to find these bigger kills in these fights. Space is shrinking down here on the map. He diverged for the Seven's Halberd as well, which is fairly nice in at least holding back the PL and holding back the Pangolier, but it's already hard enough to catch Fear out, so if they just got that for the PL, they haven't been even considering Fear as a factor because he's just constantly farming. This is the beauty of PentAce's draft. They've been forcing these fights without the PL because they don't need the PL to be there. It's much more efficient for Fear to keep farming up, hurting too much without the Phantom Lancer, these bigger engagements. And because the PL's out of the picture, these counter picks for the PL and the Shaker in perhaps a Yule's Requiem from Angel, it just doesn't matter because the big hero they want to blow up anyway isn't showing up in any vulnerable spot, so they're not able to find that big target, and that's really what's causing issues here for Infamous. And it's just such a tricky game to find that slippery Phantom Lancer. It's that back and forth with the PL Shaker. We haven't even seen much of that at all. and I think that's starting to build up here for Infamous. They still are holding on to a very slight net worth lead, 2K. Again, that's down to the fact that their cores on Infamous' side are much closer to each other than the cores on PentAce. But it doesn't feel like that farm has been achieving them much just yet. Yeah, I mean, I can imagine it being bad. We experience it sometimes as well, right? And we've got pretty clear lines to Singapore and Hong Kong. But sometimes one server gives in. Sometimes all servers give in. So it can be tough. Little tech gremlins in the servers, you know? Could be the line, you know? Maybe less of Discord, more of the personal connection. Could be. TeamSpeak, yeah. Nah. Yeah, like the UI is much more bare bones. Looks more like an IRC in some cases. I did use TeamSpeak for a bit, mainly when I was playing Network Online with it, because Discord wasn't there yet, although. Surprising pickup here from Leo. He goes for the blink, bypassing his BKB, so he's going to be vulnerable to the control, to the stuns, to the silences. Maybe they find an angle though, but it's very difficult. They've got all the jump in the world from Infamous, but they can't find the targets they want. Play. Angel. Oh. Yeah, and they aren't quite in position to really get a good shove out though, which is unfortunate for the side of Infamous, but they're going to be happy enough getting those kills. That's exactly what they need to do. Take care of Rubik first. Once you take that out, you don't have to worry about stolen fissures, stolen grip. You get full value with a grip, and because Fear did opt for no defensive items, he went for all in on stats. No Manta for dodging. This Orchid flies on once you target him down, and he just gets locked in. He does not have his talents to drop Doppelganger cooldown, so it's a lot easier still for the Shakers to find that angle with a blink slam, and it does pay off. So Infamous finally finding that good fight, widens the lead to 7k, and all of a sudden it does feel like they are back in control just off of those 3 pickoffs.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's top tower is under attack.
It's just unfair.
Bounty! Dire are spinning for
It's going to give him more control out to the side of PentAce. And we think that, again, you have to watch the PL without going for any defensive items. Even a Manta would help the cause, as the Orchid can mess you up once they find the right target. You have to watch about giving this time away as well, because the Arcane Blink for Angel is almost up. So you get up and then you hit 25. Cooldown and uptime on Requiem and your raises is ridiculous. There's a lot of damage the SF can still do into the late game, especially once BKBs start to tick away. So have to be careful about trying to play in this farm game. The DP is going to start to fall off. Ryoya, you know, he just wanted to push those towers early on. He sacrificed his farm for PL, even snaking. His progression is stalled out with the Blink Yules. So they're not scaling as well on any other hero beyond Fear. Maybe you could argue Z-Freak is getting value, but that's just the nature of the Rubik. Infamous is doing a lot better with its space out with farm. Arcane Blink on SF is such a broken combo because of that cast delay, cast point reduction. You just insta-cast the Requiem, so not much worry there. You can find the kills. Good punishment out from Angel, and he doesn't need to wait long for the next Requiem because, again, Arcane Blink, very balanced item. Gonna be up again in 40 seconds. Oh, yes. Ooh. That's a quick move charm, too. You have to watch this Raid King as well. He's got the overwhelming blink up. So that's actually a pretty decent way of helping you figure out who the PL is, the real PL. You blink in, you look at the one that takes less damage, helps you identify that target. It's a decent chunk of damage as well. You have a lot of strength on the Raid King. That's about 300 in AoE. And the slow is pretty potent against the support, so you are itemizing quite nicely on Infamous's end, and you start to wonder whether or not PentAce are depending a bit too much on Fear. He's still saving up for that Abyssal, almost at that point, but if he does buy out, he is not going to have buyback. He still has Aegis for about a minute 15, but after that time, Infamous are probably going to be looking to take those fights. It's getting scary, allowing Angel to sit to build in 25. Like the CPR is going to come up soon, Mike, and see that CPR talent plus that Arcane Blink. I just want to see it. I want to see how devastating that is. They have the Abyssal up on Fear, so additional control on PL, a little bit of tankiness as well on hand. To help them get control in these big fights. The issue is they're trying to get a push off, but it's not going to be as quick if they don't expend that exorcism. Their top is already gone. So one outer tower left here for PentAce. They should take out the last tower for Infamous, but the Aegis does expire. So Fear's going to be exposed if he's not careful with no buyback. Yeah, it's just a lot to fight into. I think PentAce is just worried about their execution right now. Again, you went all in with a build on the PL without any sort of defensive item. Sort of vulnerable if he does get caught out. He is saving up for a swift blink, so RP will be able to see that. In fact, does that mean we've got every single blink kind? That does, right? That's pretty interesting. You rarely see every single blink upgrade in game, but we might see it here. Yeah? No, definitely not. I can see an argument though, because it kind of incentivizes just rushing the blink, and on some snowball heroes, you can actually just keep going for kills, flash farm, and then build into the blink upgrade, which is, I think, one of the reasons why the SF in this case is working out. So there's an argument for and against how broken it is. I think for some heroes, definitely a bit game breaking, just because they're already flash farmers, they already go into the blink anyway, and these blink upgrades are pretty darn strong. It does give some spice towards the late game, because it always felt like blink was a bit of a dead slot. I mean, it's always useful, but you know, sometimes you're like, okay, I could have used something else in the blink slot. Sometimes you have to swap around those items mid-fight. You get a little bit more utility there, as we do get the go-ahead. Hopefully that sorts out all the issues here for Infamous. Oh, balance. Oh boy. Oh boy.
The tower is under attack.
Oh yeah, it's a lot to play into now for the side of PentAce. And it's such a close game. 14 to 13, the 8k lead is big for Infamous, but that's like 2 items on 2 different cores, or 1 item in 2 different cores. So it's not as massive at 38 minutes, and it does still give Infamous a good advantage in taking these fights. But they are being cautious. Both sides do not want this game to swing either way, and are playing on the edge. I still think this does favor the outcome for Infamous. Just wait for Angel to hit his timing, and then he's going to have all the spell spam, item spam in the world, and that is just going to be frustrating to play against if you are in PentAce.
The tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Really good abuse there. Can you believe it, Mike? Arcane picked up by Angel. So he's got Arcane Rune plus the Blink plus the 25 talent. I just want to see it in action. It doesn't feel like Infamous wanted to take a fight without the Raid King though, so PentAce can use this opportunity to zone them out. There is still a minute until Roche. Need a on cover 2 here. That was a risky play. Snaking had a basher, so if they got lucky, he would have been stuck there and dead. They do manage to zone out, and they do play greedy. Abyssal done on Angel, so imagine that cooldown as well. 20 seconds without popping the Arcane Blink. Once you jump in, it's going to be even low. I don't know about the Abyssal over a Hex. I think the Hex is much more stalled stun, but it's still highly effective, and the stats are good in the SF. So they do smoke up. They want to force this fight out with the Raid King back up.
Very cool of you.
And this is also very awkward for Infamous. Angel cannot find the angles to go in. I think he's trying to find Rubik to get his rare off first. But this concentration is costing these fights, and they lose 2 kills. Oh! Fear! I think that compensates for losing and buying back on your supports and losing Mariano as well. Infamous going to be feeling happy about taking out the PL. Very aggressive jump forward with the Abyssal, and he could not doppel away from the Echo Slam, so Michael got full value from his spell. Have to be cautious. It's still a PL into Shaker. Sure, you've already got the heart, you've got the durability up on that hero, but the Shaker can still kind of take away a lot of that, and they go into the Roche here as well. Oh. That space. It's tricky to play this courier game with a Shaker around. He can just fissure into the wall and walk around the wall with his Axe Shard. So it's a tricky one to do. They're not going to be able to contest because they don't have Rolling Thunder on Snaking, and of course no buyback on Ryoya. So a big pickup here for the side of Infamous. They've got the refresh on Angel as well, as if he needs it. But they're going to have to deal with double Requiem instantly. Remember, cast point is so low because of that Arcane Blink, and they can just start ripping through on Infamous' end. 18 to 16. 9k lead out for Infamous. Leo now at 25 does have the Incarnation Rate Fire Blast, so he can get additional control with his death. And they are building up. He's already got the Mjolnir up on the Wraith King, so the PL Illusions hammering on one hero could end up being bad for himself. And Infamous, despite having no outer towers left, it does feel like they're in charge now. The Lincoln's cooldown, because you've got the cooldown talent, the spell prism. The Lincoln's is at 6.8. Like, that is just so stupid. Angel is just not going to be targeted at all. You can't. And you've got an arcane rune as well. Look at that, Mike. Another arcane rune. Isn't that great? He wants to use the bottle, though. He wants to use the bottle, but what does he slot out? I don't know why they forced that fight out without the SF. It's such a greedy play from Infamous, and they get punished hard. They lose the Aegis, they lose the refresh shard as well in that encounter, and now they are on the back foot. They're gonna have to hold their high ground. They could try to play split push with ENP, but Mariano does not have the Axe shard, so this is not as fast as if you had those Rage Recreants on hand, and their mid tower is now being shoved in. What? Whoa! No, they're going to take their time. They've got control on the map. They've evened out the net worth gap. Less than 1k lead for Infamous, so it's starting to bounce back into PentAce's way. They're 2 racks up. 2 waves will just constantly shove out. You have to be careful if you're Infamous. They messed up once. They've took a fight without Angel around, and that hurt their chances. They need to play as a team. They need to stick together. That's where they shine. That's where all their damage comes in. You can see issues with damage on both sides. Although... Oh.
Very nice.
Oh, this is awkward. PentAce, no buyback in the PL. He is their main damage. They could buy back in Ryoya, they could buy back in everyone else. But without that PL, they won't have the damage to rip through Leo, to rip through RSF. And they're going to look for the high ground now as well. They nut through these towers, through the back door. Doesn't matter. No, the bash!
The seeds of fortune.
Oh, man. It's a greedy play from Angel again. He wants to go for the kill, force the dive back, but gets taken out instead. No respect for the sports and the control they had. You have to remember that Rubik's range is just ridiculous, and they do get punished. If they got Megas there instead, this would be a lot easier for Infamous, as you mentioned, but now they're going to be playing, well, a bit in the back foot. There were a couple of buybacks forced out, so overall, you're not going to be feeling too bad about that. There's no buyback in Ryoya, no buyback in Mu, and no buyback in Snaking. So the DP, CM, and Pango, if they die, are not going to have access for the defense, and I think that might be enough for Infamous to feel okay about that toss forward, but it's not a very good trade in the end. I think Infamous are still going to be playing conservatively now. Wait for that next rush. You can see the couriers and the treants just keeping eye. We will find out in about half a minute when it's going to be up. You do build up in Mariano really well, though. I mean, he's already got that nullifier. He's got the blood torrent, so he can basically doom people up and take control. If you're not careful about the NP, and we've seen Mariano do this, he can just find pickoffs while forcing around those split pushes. Oh yes. I would like to see the Ag Shard for Mariano, just to enable stronger split pushes coming out. There is a smoke up here though from PentAce. They might find someone. They're going to see Roche first as well here, but the treants are there to scout out as well, so they know something's up. And Infamous, no one on the top jungle, fortunately for them, so it doesn't look like the smoke will lead to too much here. He spent that gold in his refresh, so So now they're gonna have to seed out this Roche. That is a full set of Roche items. Now Aegis, Cheese, Refresh, Ags, Watson. And there's just no way to stop it unless they want to play cheeky with a Shaker, but they're gonna have to accept that. This could be Megas coming out for PentAce. It's a buyback now on the SF, but it's not gonna be quick enough. That Roshan is gone. That's fair enough. I think Fear has enough time to pop the cheese in these fights. Although the chain stunning from Infamous is still pretty strong, so you do have to watch out for that. There is still enough time for PentAce to try and push for that Mega Creeps up top, but the respawn is coming up shortly for Angel, so there is that to watch out for. And he's going to have buyback, at least for the next, well, after a couple of waves he's going to have buyback again, so should hold steady. We are starting to see more emphasis now on our profit as well. Mariano is starting to take over in terms of farm, trying to save for his Ags upgrade and the shard, and that should allow better split pushes and better fights to come out when they get those items up. So just need to wait for that to come out. So far just a safe play here from PentAce, shoving out each wave to ensure that they don't get split pushed down while they try to go for the high ground. Man, yeah. Yeah, they have everything they need. You look at that Dota buff probability, Mike. Look at how confused it is. 54% the way of Infamous now, it says. It's just been bouncing back and forth. Such a tight match between these two teams. 25 to 21, 57 minutes in. You still have that lead in Infamous. Oh, Fear! This is the scary spot now for Infamous. They should have buyback gold on their NPA passively in a few seconds, but it's a really slow go. So there's an opening here for PentAce. They didn't expand Aegis at all. They still have cheese on Fear if you can swap it in time, and there's no slam. So that bit truly had to take care of the PL's gone, and this should be Megas now. It's a missed opening. Yeah, it's a missed opening. Like, once this NP's back up, you should be able to farm back for buyback. Oh, that explains it. Well, did he have it in that last hit? Maybe he did, but I guess that explains why they're mitigating risk. Now it's a bit of a dicey spot. There are opportunities. I love that Fear went for this. He went for the Aeon Disc on the safe lane. You rarely see that, but in this case, Infamous are all about that burst and control. The Aeon Disc will break that off long enough that he can swap the cheese in and maybe surprise Infamous if they're not ready. So you have to watch for this. Infamous's end, they do smoke up. They have the NP to TP in a few seconds, but this is also a slightly risky play if it doesn't go right. boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Mike. Giant's Ring with overwhelming blink. That sounds like a pretty dead person to me once you're on top. That's a lot of strength on the Raid King. That's 200 DPS when he's on top. Like, Leo is just really scary now. And look at this, he's saving up for the Ags as well. So once he has that blessing on, even if he died, he can just port home, and if he doesn't get bashed by the Pangolier, that's it. Divine just goes back to base. Infamous, they're looking scary as this game scales on. And PentAce, I mean, they've still got power in them, but this game's so tough, they can't even farm out those tier 5s the same way. But they're not going to have that power spike for this fight. Oh my god. It's a raid boss, man. Fear? No buyback! Oh my god! Oh, I have chills, Mike. Chills. What an ending from Infamous. They never lost network lead. It looked like PentAce was shutting down the map, but Infamous hold out. The build-ups they had on each core, the farm distribution, so
$1,500 gold. He actually is going to go straight into the pipe here, opting to tank up even more.
Rolling boulder from Seth misses again, but there's the Infest Bomb, and this time Ohio's in trouble. Roar will come out, they have the magnetize, they get off the silence as well, and Ohio will get right-click down. The exorcism will go from Mushi, doing a decent amount of damage to aggressive. The Borslow comes through, he has no Infest, he has the Armlet Toggle, needs to be careful, the Spirit Cypher coming out, the Glimpse back onto aggressive, gets him back in there. They get the Grave off in time though, the Open Wounds will come through, they have the Kinetic Shield. There's the Black Hole, from the low ground, on to 3! Step as well as them one are gonna get chewed down. 3 dead. Mushi gets a double kill. DJ, are you kidding me? From the low ground.
DJ, God, the crowd here just goes insane as he hits the black hole of his life. And
Likely could just give this one up. The vision advantage with the Hawk does help. But nope, they're ready. They've actually got a smoke. They can bypass the Hawk with this, but
there's no way they take this in time. Fnatic need to get out. Mushi is going to be stunned up by the boulder smash. They're going to come through. Showit looking for a Ravage. Can't find it. Mushi pops the BKB early. Aggressive blinks in. Pops the Rage as well. Still has his BKB ready to go. They really want to contest this and take it down as quickly as possible. They get the refresher for Ohio. It's coming out. Double Roar is ready. Can they find a kill off of this? Maybe he's walking up with the Silver Edge. Ohio's going to get caught first. Ravage catches onto 2. Black Hole counter initiation. Static Storm on top. Aggressive is low. They get up to Static Storm. Showit pops the refresher down. not enough. Maybe he's getting chewed through by mid one. They get up the roar. They'll lose 2. They'll lose 3. They buy back on the Tide. He's got another Ravage. They have no buyback on Maybe. What an initiation from DJ.
Secures another kill, and Tong Fu is going to continue to push. They're not done. Mech still hasn't even been used. There's a hook. Howl brought all the way back to the base. Cleaned up by the Fountain. And waddles his way back to the front lines.
Well, like I said, it does waste time, but they kind of need it. I mean, they need to be able to just eliminate somebody from the fight, very similar to what Mu can do for Tong Fu. So if he had been a little bit farther up, he would have been able to throw the hook, but the thing is there was a range creep in the way. There it is, yep.
Banana going for a ride on the Dindy Express. Welcome to the well. He just goes to Tong Fu. And now charging back out. Dindy going to be spotted, and he doomed the Chen. That's a much better choice. Oh, he got him. He got him. Not going to follow it all the way because we got a battle to watch with Puppy. Trying to get away from it, going to be telekinesed back. And they will be able to get him as well. There you so a 1-for-1 trade. And wow, Hal is still alive down there. Engagement breakout as Kuro. Oh, there we go. The hook got him. Zhan Xing taking the long ride to Shanghai. Welcome home. Na'Vi is down. Can you say mega creeps? Na'Vi, he got him. One more. This is what you call one for the road.
Man, I can't.
The game for IG. Who leads the way? I believe it should be Zoe. They're gonna cut for the shorter path. They storm up the river. Patience from Zoe. Waiting in the wings. Navi's about to be caught. Oh, there's the sleep. The surge. He catches everyone. Oh, this could be a total disaster. Vacuum in. Ravage on everyone. The black hole as well. Light of heaven turns it around. Ravage as well. Stolen by Dendy. Are you kidding me? They turn it around. 4 heroes dead.
5 heroes dead. Chuan trying to survive. Chuan's gonna go down. Puppy talked about the Naga counter. It's Light of Heaven with this BKB. They turn it around. I don't even know how they're gonna do it. Standing ovation from the crowd. The last tower will be going down.
Start the fight with that global and just try to blow up and get on top of that Zeus right away. Get into that backline. I mean, the Rubik and the Zeus are really starting to be quite an issue for them.
Chalice is in with the opener, straight in with the lasso. The tower will fall, but they'll drag back the Ember Spirit into the torrent. Cut him down with the Tidebringer. He's dead, but on the side. They find Ame. Ame's dead for 60. Still alive at the moment. And all the use! The dodge! Anna up into the end, dodging the Echo Slam. Somnus, he's trapped here in the Sprout. OG, they'll slowly punch down the Kuka. The stolen Vintage Jerax sets up onto FY. OG!
That this PL will continue just to BT split push this game out, get more and more money, and that for me is still the biggest problem for Evil Geniuses. Where do you go with this? Fear needs to have that damage dealing item, but in order to do so, he's got to drop either his TP scroll or sell the Ring of Aquila. And Samel, blink, Dragon Tail stun. Garda's going to be here with the hookshot as well. They're going to bite Samel. The Colt's burn bought them a little bit of extra time, and with Samel down and no buyback, Roshan is a very, very juicy target here for CDEC.
Yeah, EG are going to know they're going for it though. First of all, it would be pretty obvious from the lane situation, but they also have a good ward around the river area to see that CDEC are moving in there now. I don't think EG are interested in contesting this 4-on-5, but maybe they can delay it long enough for it to be a 5-on-5 if they Ice Blast and Fissure properly. There is no hook shot.
They're all together. PPD, here comes the Ice Blast, ready for the dog! In from Universe! Into disaster! CDEC! They're going to get wiped from the face of the earth, apart from aggressive. He'll jump out, but the Wombo combo perfectly hits from Evil Geniuses. And now they will take Roshan. Samel is back, they'll get the egg into the Immortal. OG right behind Ame, gets the jump, finds the Pugner. Vision will not find the stun. Pugner with no buyback. OG, they were really playing with fire. The Hex down the Terrorblade. Spectral Haunt looking for the frontline attack, but that's why Somnus goes into the backline.
Oh, Shaker.
The BKB, they're into the backline. Shaker, he's bouncing around. Hawk shot, she stuns on the way through. Is gone. No buybacks available. Have LGD done it? They're holding Anna. Hold him in place. Chalice will find the damage. F5 will die for
actually running away, but it won't stop Arme from blinking up, looking for the tier 3 tower. 2 players left alive for OG. They're the big ones, however. Thompson and Anna on the defense duty. Fortification. It's delayed as much as they possibly can. And now the jump out. Hex, the boy in the bubble. Thompson able to be protected once again. Chalice very, very low on mana. They have a lot, but Arme, he'll change the life with Anna. Thompson needs to be pushed away. Able to do so. FY jumps onto the illusion only, so the hookshot won't be able to connect. But Anna, he needs to retreat. There's so much damage. Anna down. Buyback is available. They still have not taken the mid racks. OG are just trying to delay LGD for the moment. 5 heroes around. The bubble is there protecting the melee racks. Anna, Sunder by once again. The Sunder switches to life. Arme's back up to full health, but the damage from Thompson, it's good enough to kill off the bait. Buyback is there. Somnus leads forward. They just keep bunching them around, but they're still battling from inside the bubble. Pugner will come to the world living LGD. They're going for the GG push. They're going up the tier 4 towers. OG, they have to hold the line. They have the numbers. Seven from the side with a take on Arme, but no! Sunder is back up. It is there. Chalice will fall. They lose the Enchantress. FY pushing around Anna. He's so low. Can they get the die back on him? You bet your Nelly they can. Arme still very, very low. The blast will kill him off. But buyback. LGD want this now. LGD, or can they? Backing up? No, they're not. Terrorblade. BT's forward. The ball is up. Thompson needs to defend. X-Nova very visible. You've got a very, very low life Marana. But OG, they can't find the target. X-Nova, he's got the grip. He's got the control. He's got the kill. Thompson is down, but ES is up. Where the Echo slam. Oh, there it is. Forward. There's your slam. There's the dunk. There's the play. Jirax, the savior of OG.
1,500 gold. He actually is going to go straight into the pipe here. Look, opting to tank up even more.
Rolling boulder from Zep misses again, but there's the invest bomb, and this time Ohio's in trouble. Roar will come out, they have the magnetize, they get off the silence as well, and Ohio will get right click down. The exorcism will go from Mushi, doing a decent amount of damage to that aggressive. The Borslow comes through, he has no infest, he has the armlet toggle, needs to be careful, the spirit type coming out, the glimpse back onto aggressive, gets him back in there. They get the grave off in time though, the open wounds will come through, they have the kinetic shield. There's the black hole, grab the long ground, on to 3, Zep as well as M1 are gonna get chewed down. 3 dead. Mushi gets a double kill. DJ, are you kidding me, from the low ground?
DJ, God, the crowd, he just goes insane as he hits the black hole of his life. And
likely could just give this one up. The vision advantage with the Hawk does help. But nope, they're ready. They've actually got a smoke. They can bypass the Hawk with this, but
there's no way they take this in time. Fnatic need to get out. Mushi is going to be stunned by the boulder smash. They're going to come through. Showit looking for Ravage. Can't find it. Mushi pops the BKB early. Aggressive blinks in. Pops the rage as well. Still has his BKB ready to go.
Redact's turn to pick. Dire's turn to pick. Seconds. 5 seconds remain. Radiant's turn to pick.
Earth Spirit.
I am feeling great after that last game. Infamous showing up, putting PentAce down, and PentAce, they had some issues. There was a huge opening where they could have gotten Megas very early on, and instead they pulled back. Very conservative play, does not pan out for PentAce. We'll see if they change that play style up, if they start off with a Rubik DP once more. Infamous do have the Earth Spirit on hand, so it's not back to the Shaker this time around, but PentAce seeming to think that, well, you know, Z-Freak was doing good work in the Rubik, Ryoya was still hitting some timings on the Death Prophet, so this can still work out, but I worry about letting Infamous go back in that same playstyle. There's no NP this time around for Mariano to split push. But I think we need to see more activity from PentAce, especially from Fear. He spent a lot of that time farming. There were some issues with damage down the line, but you could have said the same for Infamous at some point in the game there. It just ended up too much to control, and Infamous, they do get to pick up the Monkey King that we've seen a lot of as well in the Pro Series 5.
Radiance man. Dire's turn to man. Radiance turn to man. Seconds. 5 seconds. It is Dire's ban.
Yeah, just taking out a lot of options that would enable Infamous to go back to that almost the same playstyle in Game 1. They have left a lot of the other cores in the pool. You do have Mars open for both teams to maybe pick up as well. And Mars Wukong, Mars Monkey King, that sounds really potent. Wukong plus Arena is one way to get that fight going there for Infamous. So that could be an option for Infamous. Of course, PentAce could look at it as well with Rubik. Snake King plays a mean Mars anyway. And then you've got the Rubik Mars, lift into Spear. Very annoying lane to deal with for any safe laner on hand. So we'll see if that Mars will play a factor here. You even have the Puck left alone. You've got the Nyx left alone, although not as much room for a Nyx for either side. Wither pause 4 is up, but we have seen pause 5 Nyx taken up here and there as well. So we'll see what the play is as Infamous do ban out the Ursa, which is one of those potent cores that we tend to see a lot of, and they go Timber Saw, which would explain that Ursa ban out. So you have some sort of counter synergy with Monkey King and Timber Saw on the same side, but at the same time, PentAce, it does feel like they have some answers here for the Timp. You've got the Rubik lift to stop him from jumping around. You've got some really good magic damage here from Rubik and DP anyway, and you have the silence follow-up to keep that Timber Saw down. So not the easiest Timber Saw game for Mariano, but could be a really solid comfort pick for them to go back into.
Dire's turn to pick.
Weaver.
Seconds remain.
Yeah, you're going to find steady income of gold regardless on that Weaver. As you mentioned, pretty nice into the Monkey. You can just stand outside Wukong's. You can leap backwards in time, so if you get your HP back up, get yourself in a better spot. So there is that, and this is a bit more of an active here as well. So maybe Fear starts to show up more aggression, just farm that fast Mjolnir, or maybe just the Maelstrom in this case, and start building up. Play with your team, get the push going with Ryoya. Infamous though, I like this build up. Disruptor out with Monkey King. So you do have Wukong's plus Static Storm plus the Kinetic Field. Makes it hard to jump out, and that is a really good way of locking in the Weaver. You glimpse him back, You drop the Static Storm on top of where he's coming back into, and you just drop the Kinetic Field. Even just the Kinetic Field stops the Weaver from being so slippery. So you've got some options now for Infamous in controlling that hero up in these bigger team fights.
Radiant's turn to battle. 10 seconds. 5 seconds.
Yeah, it really just falls flat. The flash farm isn't as great. The lasso is still really important, so you do have that control here, but now it does leave the question as to what lane it's going on. It looks like it's likely to be off lane here, and the DP goes mid for Ryoya, so snaking Batrider coming through. I'd say Infamous already have some decent ways to stop the lasso though. Glimpse is already one good way. If you see the Batrider jump in and it's not in Disruptor, glimpse him back. If it's far back enough, and for the most part it can be, you end up with just breaking that lasso off. So some save potential here from Infamous. They could sneak in a last pick to make that work, but seeing that they are lacking a core, there are not many cores left to stop the Batrider from just kind of taking control like that. So we'll see what does slide through. PentAce with this kind of lineup though, Batrider plus DP plus the Weaver, they've got to play pretty fast here. Get the level 6 on Ryoya, start looking for the mid tower, if not the bot tower, or in this case the top tower, and start shoving in that way with the Exorcism, play around with team fights. We saw PentAce play around that timing pretty well in game 1, so you just need to replicate that around the DP here.
5 seconds remain. It is done. Seconds remain. 5 seconds.
I mean, you could also go support Bat, although on 5 that sounds pretty tough. Support Weavers there as well. Maybe you just downgrade a Rubik to the pause 5 here and take one of these greedier 4s. Does sound fairly greedy to pull off, if that is the case. And you do take off the Quap here. So Infamous again, thinking that the mid hasn't showed itself. We'll see what the options do come out, as Infamous do have last pick overall, so PentAce will have to show their cards here.
10 seconds. 5 seconds remain. Dyer's turn to pick. Clockwork. Seconds.
I don't think you're too worried about the clock. Like, you do have the Clockwork Batrider combo, so you can trap someone in cogs, spam Napalm, run over them with the Firefly. At the same time, it is a greedy lineup in terms of EXP. Clockwork wants to hit 6, Rubik wants to hit 6, so that's the Batrider, DP, and Weaver. So you're going to have to spread that EXP gain out evenly, and the supports will have to take the hit, especially that clock. More than likely, we're going to see Moo Clockwork in this game, and Z-Freak back in Rubik, so I think that's pretty hammered in. Infamous, they're still lacking either their safe lane or mid. They're keeping that flexibility till the end. You can see, again, you pointed it out, but PentAce did ban out a mid and a safe lane because the options are open here for Infamous. They do have the Void Spirit on hand if they wanted that. The Ember Spirit's there as well, but can kind of play nicely here. They go with a Slark instead. So Monkey mid, Slark off is the call, does look like. Slark safe, sorry. And Slark against Batrider in this case is actually pretty nice. You purge off the napalm, and that's basically it. Maybe even get the Dark Pact off before the lasso comes in. So Slark's not going to be a viable target for that control. PentAce, we'll have to see what they can get done with this lineup. They need to play fast, prevent the Monkey and the Slark from finding too much farm. Otherwise, you might end up in that same situation where Infamous just scales better into the late game.
Seconds remain. 5 seconds.
It's a bit of a shakeup as well here, Mike. Snake King Rubik, Z-Free Clock, and Moo Batrider. So they shifted around. I'm not sure. Core Rubik offlane is something we've seen maybe once or twice in the past year. It can work out. You have to remember the Batrider can't just flash farm anymore. Or he can, but it's a lot slower. So the progression on a support bat is not going to be as quick. We'll see how it pays off for PentAce. If this is a shakeup for them, but maybe that throws enough off guard from Infamous for them to not know how to deal with this roster, well, not roster swaps, but with the role swaps that PentAce are doing in this game. And we'll also see it as lanes break out, which we should be able to take a peek at now. Fortunately, no minute zero pause this time around. No, I cursed it. You're welcome, Mike. What is this?
Well, this'll work. This'll work.
I guess that is the support? Probably? I mean... Alright, so he just wants to maximize his first set of mana, refresh, get some damage off, harass out the side of Infamous.
What weatherman is this?
Well, this'll work.
Oh, he.
It's just... I don't know, I just feel so strange about that draft. Infamous have something much more straightforward and easy to pull off. They are smoked up, and they might have seen Z-Free pip.
I'm just getting started.
Yeah, to get first blood, that does set your Monkey King up to have a good time down mid. He did opt for level 1 Boundless Strike, and you also have Leo with level 1 Pounce. So the laning is not going to be as amazing, especially for the Monkey. You're going to have to ride through that level 1 and hold out until you can get the Jingu to trade with that DP. But otherwise, this is the best outcome you could hope for. He might be able to secure more runes as well, although you already have Fear standing around the top rune spot. Although... Yeah, and it helps Angel out a bit more. They both start with their wave clear spells, although for Angel it's not going to be as amazing, turning out that that boundless strike early on to secure last hits, but he does find a couple of creeps, and Rio is going to have to hold it steady. We'll see how it develops as the levels come in. Of course, that does give us time to look bot. Moo is indeed on the pause 5. Bat Rider with Fear on the Weaver. So Bat Rider Weaver lane, we haven't seen support Bat Rider in a pretty long time. This should be annoying for Mariano, to be fair, right? But you're not the Slark up against the Bat, you are the Timber against the Bat. That can slow you down. He can still build up once he has levels up. That should be a good point for him. And you already have Michael on the Earth Spirit, getting some good pulse off. So they're going to find steady EXP on those two heroes anyway. Yeah, it's not the best situation, but they are harassing him out fairly well, so he can't come in for the last hits too smoothly, and Moo is just zoning out quite nicely. Yeah, that sets Ryoya up really well. Has level 2, so Crypt Swarm's up. Easier to shove out that wave. Angel, level 3 as well, but again, the wave clear for Angel is not as amazing, and playing into the ranged hero of the EP does make it tougher. So a nice pickup there for Ryoya. Does try to harass back with Boundless Strike, but the cooldown is that much longer that you can't really trade well. Still up top, it's a bit of a mess. Leo is farming behind the tier 1, but they are getting good damage off onto Z-Freak as well. Yeah, it's a nice pickup for him as he does have his Essence Shift up, so he gets one permanent agi to start off with. A little bit of a boost for the Slark and a really good timely rotation from Michael. Allows him to walk into the triangle, wait out the 4-minute power rune, and just contest it well, although Z-Freak does get a reset because he died, and does get to walk in. There is a ward to spot this out, and Michael's not going to be able to really just get that for free. And that's a really good fortify wall, though, preventing Angel from getting that creep wave early on. Does eventually find it as fortify only lasts for so long. Still rather even start, just a lot of harassment out from both sides. Should see some contention for those bounty runes now as well. Michael still camping around trying to track Z-Freak and maybe sag a couple of runes as well. Really well-timed rotation out from Fear, and this rotation from Weaver, it always pays off when you have that early Javelin. Sub 6 minutes, they find the kills they need, they apply pressure in the tower that they need to, but the TPs are coming in. Yeah, it's back and forth. You're a bit happier about that kill on the Timbersaw. When you see Tim's fall behind, it doesn't play out well, and Moo is actually getting a good amount of EXP on the support Batrider 5. So overall, things looking good here for PentAce early on. They're hitting all their beats, they're hitting all their power spikes in terms of levels, and they can start playing around soon. Infamous, lagging a bit behind. Angel's initial farm, just not getting as much, even the EXP gain. 2 levels behind Ryoya now. Not good news for a Monkey King who does want to hit his level 8 spike to get his own rotations out. Yeah, just a bit too far forward, and they find another kill. 3 stacks now on Leo for that Essence shift. So 3 permanent Agi, a good build-up on the Slark early on, evening out the kill board just a bit, 5-4. Less than 1k lead still running in PentAce. And you do have a timing to play with. Exorcism is back up if they want to look down mid. It's working out a lot better in the aggression. You have to look at Mariano as well. He did go for the max Timber Chain build this time around, going for reactive, which is fair enough, especially since there is that Javelin and Maelstrom now from Fear to pierce through physical armor anyway. It does mean his presence in lane is really shot down without that additional regen, but they do drag some heroes down here, but it's a slippery Weaver, very hard to lock in. Yeah, on the bright side, that means 4 out of the 5 kills Infamous have found is only on the Clockwork. So you're not losing too much at this point. It does mean your pause 4 slowing down, but you've enabled Moo to have a better game. I think overall you can just pivot towards a harder support on the Rubik, on the Clockwork, and start to maybe prioritize this Batrider's timings as it is online and they can be threatening down bot. not many options for Infamous to defend. They just don't have the team fight that they need to go back in. They're going to need level 6 on A. They're going to need the Wukong's value point on Angel as well to get that done. And without those spells, it's just a whole lot harder to force these big team fights. So free towers coming out for PentAce. They're playing to their strengths quite nicely. They took that tower without popping Exorcism, which means Ryoya TPing up top can try again with the Exorcism.
Should look to their top tower.
Yeah, they are looking down bot. They do have Leo around as well to do some damage. This is the issue of Infamous's lineup, though. Not the best push. They don't have Necronomicon carriers. They don't have summons to play with. No tower hitters with spells as well. So it's going to be slow going. That's enough time to still apply pressure up top. Snaking, just keeping that constant push with this Necronomicon level 2. There was a smoke out in 2 supports. Moo. Yeah, it's pretty big pickoffs. That's going to allow them to clean up this bot tier 1. So they do actually find the tower in the end. Very slow going, but it does pay off. They're building up in farm as well. Very even in terms of net worth across both sides. You're seeing Leo slightly ahead of Fear, but not by much. Angel slightly ahead of Ryoya. It's only really the offlane where this gap really exists. Mariano is so far behind compared to Snaking that the core Rubik is looking like it's paying off. And Mariano now. Oh boy. Bit messy there for Infamous. Trying to TP out at the wrong time and get punished. 10-10 now. PentAce up by 1k. Not much of a gap just yet. But with that tier 2 up top gone, there's less space for Infamous to control. Roche access is a bit rougher now as well. And it's harder for Infamous to start finding the angles in these fights. There's some good deep wards here from PentAce. They've got the ward watching the triangle. They don't have any wards up top though to watch that part of the jungle just yet. Can still farm in that area fairly nicely. They will need to find this catch-up farm soon. Angel already has the Maelstrom, wants to build into the Ags build-up for the Monkey King. So once you do have that, more lessons for the Monkey on hand, the issue is getting to that point. Yeah, they're just getting so much off the map. They're playing aggressive as well. Leo is so far out by himself. He's punished, but And it's really messy for Infamous. They keep trying to throw their bodies out, but this is not their power spike. It's really strong for PentAce at the moment. They've got a lot of damage, a lot of control, and you don't have that same control and damage yet on Infamous, so I think they need to tone down the aggression, get this farm up on your Slark and your Monkey King, try to work with the space you have on hand. Use Mariano as a body toss forward. He's been dying so much anyway. He doesn't have items on this Microsoft very early on, but that is going to allow the Roche to come out here for PentAce, and Infamous don't have many options to fight in that pit. Yeah, it's getting hard to get that farm split that we saw in the last game for Infamous. They don't have the option to split push as well because they don't have the heroes to get that done. So it's just a constant risk, and Green Lane is just constantly tracked up by sneaking. Ooh. Yeah, he does buy a lot of space out for his team on Infamous's end. So this is allowing some farm to fly onto Angel. The Ags is just about 200 gold away, although Angel... Oh, no. They can't. They just can't afford to take these big fights right now. They've been trying to avoid the engagements. They do have combinations. They've got the Static Storm to play with. But without the Monkey King or the Wukongs, the damage is just not going to be enough. And they're just going to have to try to deep push as much as possible while waiting for those respawns, while waiting for these items to get done. They know Infamous are not in position to contest these pushes as well. Adds up an Angel. That is nice, although... There's no defending this. No Wukongs, no Static Storm. You have no way of stopping that push. So one outer tower left here for Infamous. They're stuck in a really awkward spot. You already have Leo just trying to creep cut, getting some farm where he can as fast as possible. But Snap could be surrounded at the least. There is a Rubik and Flip that spot him out. won't feel too bad about it. You do manage to scout out Angel up top though. He is going to be able to TP home, but he's taking a lot of damage from Fear. And they are keeping that move down mid.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Yeah, it's
Invisibility.
cool. They definitely can. Exorcism still running just for a bit. It's gonna fade soon, but that's enough to at least get one hit on each ghost, or a couple of hits. They are trying to split push bot. Mariano is gonna find that tier 2 in exchange, but losing 2 heroes, losing tier 3 for that is not worthwhile. Infamous, they do have Static Storm Wukongs. They could try for a play if they do throw their bodies out. Have to be cautious about what PentAce has on hand. They've got this blink up and move, so the pos 5 bat can actually just blink in and get the lasso off if he finds the angle. There's a bit of a blessing here for Infamous. With the Ags and the Monkey King, they can actually play defensively on the high ground quite nicely. Just get a couple of soldiers down by standing around the towers, and you can slow it down, although seeing that much of the push is ranged, it's hard. Although they've got enough damage on hand. Fear just took a drop. The Necronomicons are just so valuable in these pushes. And again, Infamous has no response. They can't get the wave clear out. They can't get the team fight out. And now with Exorcism up, if they do that team fight, it is going to hurt them a ton. Yeah, he bought out the BKB. It's going to be useful in the next fight, but there's an opportunity here for PentAce to continue that aggression. They are smoked around, trying to get the wrap around here, but Leo is a slippery Slark, so it could be a hard target to go for, but there's nothing stopping it. They should have Exorcism up for the high ground push as well after this tier 2, so they can easily pierce through the last set of racks, and all Infamous can do is try to farm elsewhere on the map. They're forced to TP home now, but it's just difficult. Even with these items up on Angel, even with that BKB, it just doesn't feel like it's going to be enough just yet to really hold on to these last few objectives. Oh, that lasso. There's no stopping. I don't know why they're not fighting with their ults here on Infamous' side. Still a good set of trades coming out. They build up a 12k lead now on PentAce's side. Infamous, they dropped a Static Storm that time, but they're not finding follow-up with Wukongs. They're not finding the follow-up with the Kinetic Field to really trap people in, and that's costing them these fights. They still have some decent hold, but they're tethering on the edge. Just one set of racks left, no tier 3 to protect, and the Roche is up, so PentAce is just going to go for the safer. Infamous, I don't even know if they can fight in there. They do have good spells for the pit, but it just feels like they lack damage. It's difficult. It's difficult now for Infamous. This shove in from PentAce is just way too much to play up against. Without the Slurk for minute 10, minute 15, that does mean they have ample enough time to maybe look at those tier 4s or at least clear out these buildings to allow the creeps easier access to that next objective. So, Infamous. Yeah, there's no need to rush here in PentAce's end. Infamous are playing on the back foot. They don't have enough farm on their Slark and on their Monkey to really take control of these fights. They need some damage items up, and they need BKBs. Angel does have a BKB. It hasn't been enough without the follow-up from the Slark, so not quite enough in the tank to really get the car going here. And PentAce, they did back off for a bit, but they are ready to go. Exorcism up in 10. Yeah, and it's a good time to reset. They know Static Storm is down, so they could go back in the next minute. They do have the E-Blade being saved up for from Ryoya, so he's going to have that fairly soon. And Fear is saving up for a Nullifier. So they're going to have some ways to just lock these heroes, get the damage off. Infamous, maybe they get the Static Storm for the next defense. It looks like they will. So there is still some fight left in Infamous. They just need to find those angles. They have to be careful about glimpsing back the Batrider when the Static Storm is on top. A bit of a mistake from A does cost them some bounce back gold. And they're going to have to look for that opportunity elsewhere, as they can't really go out of the base now. They're just stuck on high ground, farming mega creeps. Not very efficient farm for them. And it does lead to slower growth here. Buyback. PentAce managing to bounce back in game number 2. They run this wonky offlane movement with the Necronomicon build, but it does pay off. Moo as well on the hard 5 Batrider. Still gets everything done there.
$1,500 gold. He actually is going to go straight into the pipe here, opting to tank up even more.
Rolling boulder from Sep misses again, but there's the Invest Bomb, and this time Ohio's in trouble. Roar will come out, they have the Magnetize, they get off the silence as well, and Ohio will get right click down. The Exorcism will go from Mushi, doing a decent amount of damage to end. The Borislow comes through, he has no Infest, he has the Armlet Toggle, needs to be careful, the Spirit Siphon coming out, the Glimpse back onto Aggressive, gets him back in there. They get the Grave off in time though, the Open Wounds will come through, they have the Kinetic Shield. There's the Black Hole, from the long ground, on to 3!